Hi YouTubers. So I haven't made like an update video in a while, and I figured I could do that and multitask at the same time. Baby is napping for now and tooting. He's got gas. And I figured I could kill two birds with one stone and do laundry and update y'all. So pretty much, I guess today I wanted to talk about my birth story. I hadn't really had a chance to record that video. My son is now 7 weeks. He'll be 7 weeks tomorrow. So it's been a minute and I've had time to like process everything. So one of the things I'd like to talk about is what happened on the day that I went into labor. So that morning I woke up and it was like 7:30, 8 o'clock, I think. It was like around that time. And I remember like throughout my whole pregnancy, like my Braxton Hicks were never painful. They just kind of felt like my muscles would tighten and then relax. And that was in my abdomen. But this day I started having cramping. Like it woke me up, this cramping feeling that was very similar to period cramps, but nothing major. And it wasn't like in my back area, it was just in the front, which was, interesting. And I was like, okay, well that's new. So, pretty much I was like, okay, I think I'm in labor. And at that time I was like 39 weeks and like 1 day or 2 days, something like that. So, and also this was the day before Mother's Day. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm in labor. No biggie. I'm ready. And just so y'all know, for a little bit of backstory, I didn't tell a lot of people except for my very close family and my husband and very, very close friends. I had let them know that I planned on having as much of an unmedicated birth as possible, and one that didn't involve a lot of interventions. So like I didn't want to be induced, I didn't want any of that stuff. Well, just so y'all know, because my labor was just so different, it definitely didn't turn out what I had planned, but overall I still had a good experience. And my son came out healthy and happy, and that to me is all that matters. So, I definitely, like, I know some people on my birthing, like on my pregnancy mama group, like legit was like saying that they felt traumatized by their experience, that they were just so heartbroken that they had to have a cesarean. I mean, some people took it really, really hard. I pretty much knew, like, right after I showed up to the hospital and my contractions started getting worse, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do whatever I need to do. Like, I had a typed out birth plan. Like, I'll go over that in another video. I had a typed out birth plan. I knew what I wanted. I was very vocal, but for me, a lot of it, I think, was I just wanted to be heard by whoever was going to be delivering my baby. I just wanted them to hear me out and not force me into anything. And I was not forced into anything. So I get to the hospital. I had been laboring all day, just mild early labor. I want to stress that this was mild early labor that I was in. So I get to the hospital around midnight. And because of all the COVID stuff, my husband couldn't go in with me. So from midnight to 2:30, I was in the labor and delivery ER by myself. Well, not by myself. There were nurses there, but my husband wasn't there. And my phone was dead. This was like not the time to not have a charger. Like, what the fuck? So then, like, my contractions started getting worse. Like, and okay, the day before, on that Friday, I had a doctor's appointment. I was only dilated to maybe a 1 on that Friday. Saturday, here I'm in labor. Then I go up to the labor and delivery ER at 12:30. And I just want y'all to know that those contractions hurt like a mofo, and it hurt a lot. And guess what? I was only dilated to a 1. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, seriously? Anyways, I was not prepared. I thought I was prepared for the pain, because some people have explained it as being like really terrible cramps, but way worse. I've had really bad cramps. Like, I'm talking, I've had cramps that like ball you up in a ball in a fetal position type of period cramping menstrual cramps. This was not it. This was not the same thing. No. Way worse. So by 2:30, I was like, the pain was really getting to me, and the doctor comes in, and when they told me that I was like not even dilated to like a 2, I was like, I don't know. I was like, I'm getting an epidural. I'm throwing in the towel. I don't even care. So yeah, all my plans went out the window as soon as I got into the type of pain that I didn't think, that I thought I could handle, but wasn't able to handle. Yeah. So long story short, girl was getting an epidural, and it was like 2:30, 3 o'clock maybe. They were like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and admit you. You can call your husband. Because at this, just so y'all know, the whole time, that 3.5 hours, my husband was sitting out in the parking lot after working all day, was sitting out in the parking lot waiting to hear something. And I was like, yep, admit me, give me the epidural. And here's the thing though, as soon as they gave me the epidural, and I mean, I was crying and begging for it. By the time I got the epidural, it was like 4:15, 4:30 in the morning when I got that epidural. And I had a CRNA that placed the epidural. That means it was a nurse anesthetist. Which to me, the only reason I'm mentioning that is because I'm a nursing student, and to me, I just find that so amazing. Like, I've only met maybe one other nurse anesthetist during clinicals. So I know that they can do all the things that an anesthesiologist can do. Like, I know that, but it's just nice seeing them do their job. Like, I'm kind of like, I don't know, I'm a weirdo. I get kind of starstruck when I meet nurses that are like doing their thing in a very good way. So that was really cool. My experience in the hospital, as far as the nurses go, I had phenomenal nurses. Like, I want to be a labor and delivery nurse someday. And I'm telling you, the nurses that were there that day working on me, working with me to help me out, were phenomenal. And so also, I know I'm all over the place here. So the epidural, when it got placed, I knew that I was going to lose a lot of feeling and possible mobility in my legs. And I mean, the way some people had explained it, they lost all mobility in their legs. And some of the patients that I had dealt with in clinicals lost all mobility in their legs with an epidural, or they told me they did. So that's what I was expecting. I did not lose all mobility in my legs, which is so nice. So I was able to move my legs. Not great. They felt very heavy. Like, it was very hard to move, and I couldn't stand at all. But as far as being able to move on my side or get up on all fours, which I done quite often to try to maneuver baby into a better position, and to try to help the nurses out when they would come in and position me, because even though I got the epidural, I still wanted to have this baby vaginally. I did not want a cesarean, and they knew that, so they were on it as far as, they didn't give me any Pitocin at first. It was just the epidural. And as soon as I got the epidural, I dilated from like a 1 to a 4 almost instantly. So really my body was just, I guess, in so much pain. I was like, I just wasn't relaxing. So as soon as I was able to relax, I dilated. Like, that was great. So I was really excited about that. I was like, okay, cool. And this was like 5 in the morning. Now, when they placed the epidural, it hurt, but not so bad that I wouldn't get another one in the future. If I do have another child, I would definitely get another epidural. But it's like, I was in so much pain from the contractions that I could have cared less about that needle. But it was, like I said, it was overall a pretty fantastic experience as far as the anesthesiologist and the nurses. And like I said, I wanted a natural, almost what you would call a natural delivery. But obviously an epidural. So I was like ready. I was like, okay, cool. So as soon as they gave me the epidural, now whenever you get an epidural, sometimes the baby's heart rate and your own blood pressure, the mom's blood pressure, will bottom out. Even though they've pumped you full of fluids first, that still happens. So that happened with me. And I mean, I remember also, I didn't think that an epidural would make me sleepy. I know that sounds really dumb, but I just didn't. I was very tired though. I don't know if it was just a combination of the pain and then being relaxed. I have no idea. But for me, I was relaxed to the point I was like, okay, I feel so much better. That's a major relief to not be in that much pain. I'm going to go ahead and get like some sleep, because laboring is going to be difficult. It's going to be very hard. And laboring is called labor because you put in a lot of effort to push your baby out. So I was like, I'm going to go ahead and take a nap. So I'm like falling asleep, and I had the monitor turned up so I could hear the baby's heartbeat, because they had like the monitors on me, and I was like, okay, cool. And they were just like I could hear it, and it went from being very rapid. You know, baby's heartbeats are like between 120s, 160s, whatever. And I remember it sounding slower than my own heart rate, than a normal adult heart rate. And I was like, wait, that's too low. Like, I was falling asleep, and then I was like, no, that's too low. And as soon as that thought entered my brain, I didn't have to press my call light or anything, because I was on all kinds of monitors. 4 nurses and 2 doctors came in there, and the anesthesiologist, to turn me, because what was happening is like there was just it was like my blood pressure was bottoming out. So by turning me and getting me on all fours, they were able to get the baby's heart rate back up and not do a cesarean right then. So that was really good. I felt like I was watched very carefully, which was, it's a good feeling, because I don't know, this was my first baby, and even though I went into it knowing quite a bit than maybe someone that's not a nursing student, it's still very scary. So I felt very comfortable and like I was taken care of, and that was great. But then I went to sleep. Like, after everything leveled out and I was in the clear, I went to sleep. I woke up again at like 10 o'clock, and it was sometime between 10 and 12 that they started the Pitocin. But apparently every time they started it, baby's heart rate and stuff could not handle it. Like, so every time they would start the Pitocin, because I wasn't dilating, I would have to maneuver into certain positions, and it was exhausting. I was so tired. There was one point where I was on all fours, and it was killing my knees and my elbows, but I didn't, and I had a peanut ball, and it was like killing, like it felt extremely uncomfortable. And the nurse kept telling me, don't be in that position for too long if you're uncomfortable. Like, don't do it. We can change positions. But it was the most tolerable position at that time for the baby. So I was like trying to stay there. And let me tell you, you guys, those nurses, they tried everything. Different positioning, like all kinds of things. Like, they were in there every 20 minutes or so moving me, which I know is their job. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like they did put in the effort to help me through my labor. But at 3:30 or like 3 o'clock, I was just barely, I don't even know, I think I was dilated to like a 6. And of course you need to be dilated to a 10. And Also, when my water broke, it did break on its own. But when my water broke, there was meconium staining. And if you don't know what that is, that means that the baby, a lot of times, so the baby's first poo is meconium. And it's like a dark greenish black tarry type of fecal matter that is expelled. And that is supposed to be expelled after the baby's born, not while they're in utero. And apparently whenever my water broke, my amniotic fluid was like a greenish color, and there was some meconium poo staining like in my amniotic fluid, because sometimes when babies get super like down into the birth canal and they're like more stressed, they will, or if you're past your due date, your baby will go ahead and poo basically, which is not good. And then my temperature had spiked, so all leading up to this point, like my temperature spiked. They put me on antibiotic drip to try to get my temperature down, and gave me some Tylenol, which I immediately threw up. And yeah, it just, my body wasn't doing what it was supposed to. And granted, it could have been from some of the interventions, like having the epidural, but I was not prepared to go through that pain as much as I wanted to be prepared to go through that pain. So I don't really regret how everything turned out. I really don't. So at 3:30 is when my son was born. They like, the doctor came in and she goes, look, she goes, I know that you're wanting to do this without a cesarean. I know that. She's like, but really at this point, and I had been watching the monitors. I've been watching the decelerations on my own. And I know just a tad bit, just a little bit enough to know that it wasn't great. And I could no longer stay on all fours. Like, it was killing me. And when I was discharged from the hospital, I had serious bruising on my knees, and my knee hurt pretty bad for the first 2 weeks after I left the hospital, just because, you know, bone on metal, that's what happens. Because those hospital beds, if you put like intense pressure just on one spot, it will deflate through the mattress and you'll be on the metal underneath that bed. So that's why turning your patients is extremely important in the hospital, because you don't want any pressure sores or being stuck in a position where they're having a pressure point on like a hip bone or their tailbone or whatever. No, let me tell you, it's awful. So, and at that point, like I said, I was like, okay, it's like, it was 3 o'clock. They were like, let's prep you for a cesarean. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And a part of me was definitely scared, because a cesarean is major surgery. I have watched cesareans be done. And if you've never watched one be done, it is not this gentle, like, cutting and just gently pulling the baby out. No, it is not that way. I will spare you the gory details, but it's not like that. But luckily, like I said, I already had the epidural. So when they got me in there to do the cesarean, they just had to put in another medication in order to numb me the rest of the way for the cesarean. So it was a very, I would say, almost smooth process. I didn't feel anything. They told me, oh, you're gonna feel pressure. I think I was more scared of the Velcro ripping sound. I didn't hear it, or either I just wasn't paying attention. I will say that I was shaking a lot though, and I was very cold, and my teeth were chattering a lot. But they got me in there, and they get the baby out, and you guys, like, it's really weird when you expect your baby to look a certain way, and then when they come out, they don't look like that. I don't know. And all newborns look weird. I don't give a damn what anybody says. Newborns look odd as F. They're like weird bluey purpley colored when they're first born, and they're covered in like this waxy vernix, and I mean, they just look weird. And he had like a major, like, terrible cone head from being in the birth canal for so long. I mean, he was trying. His head looks so weird, you guys. Thank God for baby hats, because there's a reason that they put a baby hat on your baby before they hand it to you, because they look weird as shit. But anyways, but yeah, that's basically my birth story. He's gonna be waking up. I guess I should let y'all see him, seeing as I haven't, I mean, y'all kind of seen him in one of my subscription videos, but he's grown a little bit since then. He's gained some weight. He's my little chunky, but he's always mad when he wakes up from a nap because he gets cloth diapered. So when he's wet, he's like really wet, and he does not like it. But yeah, here he is. So angry. Why you so mad? Why you so mad, babies? Mama's gonna change your butt. I'm gonna change your booty. But yeah, he's angry. Just waking up, he's angry. Let me see if I can set y'all here. Maybe? No? I'll set y'all there. But for the most part, like, I'm gonna change him. But for the most part, my birth experience was, like, not terrible. And I don't feel like I missed out on anything by having a cesarean. And as far as the healing, I felt pretty good, like, the first 24 hours. But after that, I definitely had to be on some pain medication for the first 3 days that I was home. But I definitely healed really, really well. My incision healed super well. I will say this, I will never have soft furniture again. As soon as I get a different couch and bed, I am getting firm, because there is nothing worse on this planet than having a cesarean or any abdominal surgery and then being on an extremely soft surface. Like, we had to sleep in the living room the first couple of weeks that we were home, because it was just too hard for me to get up and around. Can I say hi? Can I say hello? Hi. Hello. Oh, hello, babies. But yeah, he is my absolute favorite. I love him very, very, very much. I love being his mom. He has done fantastic. We breastfeed and do a little bit of a formula supplement. I might talk about that in another video. Love you. But so far, being a mom is pretty fantastic. So I'll talk more about that in another video. But yeah, thank y'all so much for tuning in. He's gonna cry if I put him down. And we will see y'all in the next video, and maybe we'll talk about something else then. But for now, we are going to sign off. Thank y'all so, so much. And if you want to see more updates, definitely subscribe to my channel, and press that like button on your way out. All right, thank you.